We know all of you are getting ready. You're probably going through like online shopping. What new Chiefs gear do I get? Don't forget what's already in your closet, or maybe look to the past, because our vintage Chiefs gear is awesome. I love all the vintage stuff I found in my mom and dad's closet, like the matching puffy coats for my dad, my brother. Anyway, vintage Chiefs gear is hot. KSHB 41 News reporter Caroline Hogan caught up with one store getting ready for a really busy weekend.
We all know the regular YCO Vintage store right next door, but up this elevator, there's something extra special that happens.
You know, we've got some good ones here, some fan favorites like Dan Saliamua, you know, some that are maybe a little more funnier like Steve Bono, times we might want to forget about a little bit, but it's part of the history.
It's a time capsule of vintage swag.
There's lore that lives on with these sports teams.
And there's something about the Chiefs gear that makes people want more.
Right now you've got this group of the population that essentially is reflecting back on their childhood and nostalgia and trying to recapture memories. So I feel like the interest had kind of been there, but it gets on a different level when you win a Super Bowl.
But this KC native and Chiefs fan is definitely not taking it for granted.
Growing up and being a kid in the 90s, the heartbreak, the letdown, we're so lucky to like have the Royals do what they did, and now the Chiefs kind of like the torch almost got passed on, but just to have a winning culture in Kansas City, it's so cool.
Reporting in Kansas City, Caroline Hogan, KSHB 41 News.
Yeah, pretty amazing what we've been able to witness as a city the last decade or so. It's been awesome. I love that. And I just met a recent college grad a couple weeks ago who was full-time going to sell vintage clothes on Instagram, and a huge part of his work during the season, Chiefs vintage gear. By the way, I went to my mom's closet, pulled out a sweatshirt. She goes, "That's not old." I go, "You've had this my whole life, Mom." So it is vintage now, because apparently I'm vintage too. You guys, get old vintage Chiefs gear.
Like a fine wine, Lindsay Shively live.